Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Joint Base San Antonio. Today is a historic day for the men and women of the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center as they observe a change of command, transferring the reins of responsibility and leadership from Major General Bradley D. Spacey to Major General John T. Wilcox II. The presiding official for today's ceremony is the Commander, Air Force Materiel Command, General Arnold W. Jr.
The change of command ceremony is rooted in military history dating back to the 18th century during the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each particular unit. To this flag and its commander, the soldiers of the unit would dedicate their. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming command. This gesture was accomplished in front of the unit, so all could see and witness the new leader assuming their dutiful position. The leader who held the flag also held their soldiers' allegiance. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history. Good morning, I am Master Sergeant Vanessa Mungo.
And I am Major Stephanie Morales. We are honored to serve as your Masters of Ceremonies for today's event.
Throughout the ceremony today, you'll be given cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder, during the singing of the national anthem, military members should stand at attention and our civilian guests should place their right hand over their heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Ms. Leslie Tom and the invocation by Chaplain Colonel Ted Wilson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner red wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Ms. Tom. At this time, we invite Chaplain Wilson to come forward to offer the invocation.
Before we pray, let's give Ms. Tom a round of applause for that. I'd invite you to bow with me in prayer, please. Almighty God, it is with our best wishes, and most of all, your blessings for the future, that we thank you for the leadership and stewardship of Major General Brad Spacey as he heads off into retirement 1.0. He, with the love and constant support of his wife Lisa and daughter Ricky, has made a lasting impression on the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Air Force Materiel Command, as well as every installation in the United States Air Force. As our leader, his innovation has advanced the ball for all of us, and we confidently say we are better off today than when he arrived. And now, God, as we transition from one great warfighter to the next, we thank you, Lord, for bringing us Major General Tom Wilcox as the new servant leader of the AFIMSC. We welcome he and his wife, Marion, and their children, Eric, Braden, Madeline, and Kinley, into our family. We pray specifically for him now as he takes the reins of this beast. Oh God, I pray that you would grant him the faith of Abraham, the courage of Joshua, the patience of Job, the wisdom of Solomon, the boldness of Peter, and the perseverance of Paul. God, grant him all that he needs as he takes the reins as our commander. And I pray these things in your most blessed and holy name. Aim high and amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We would like to take this opportunity to recognize the family members of Major General Spacey and Major General Wilcox in attendance today. We ask that you please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced.
General Spacey's wife, Miss Lisa Spacey, and his son-in-law, Mr. Colton Swizzler. Major General Wilcox's wife, Miss Marion Wilcox, his daughters Madeline and Kinley, and his two sons, Braden and Eric Pospisil, who are not in attendance today.
Major General Spacey's father, Colonel retired William Spacey, his mother Marcia, brother Colonel retired William Spacey II and his family, and his sister Kim Murphy and her family. Major General Wilcox's father, Colonel retired John Wilcox, his stepmom Diane Hadley, brother Robert Wilcox, wife Sophia, and children Ivy and Lexi Wilcox.
We would also like to welcome our distinguished guests, Command Chief, Air Force Materiel Command, Chief Master Sergeant Stanley Cadell, Executive Director, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Ms. Lorna Estep, and guest, Mr. Robert Badgett. Vice Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Colonel Pat Miller and his wife, Beth.
Command Chief, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Chief Master Sergeant Edwin Lugwison and his wife, Krista. Director, Installation Support Directorate, Mr. David Dentino.
Commander, Air Force Installation Contracting Center, Brigadier General Alice Trevino. Executive Director, Air Force Installation Contracting Center, Ms. Renee Richardson. Director, Air Force Civil Engineer Center, Mr. Terry Edwards.
Mobilization Assistant to the Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Brigadier General Patrice Melanson. Director, Operations and Communications, Air Education and Training Command, Brigadier General William Spangenthal. Air Component Commander, Texas State Guard, Brigadier General Johan Kinsey.
Director, Installation Directorate, Air Force Civil Engineer Center, Mr. Robert Moriarty. Executive Director, Air Force Space Command, Mr. Lawrence Kingsley.
We would also like to extend a special welcome to all other distinguished guests, to include commanders, chiefs, colleagues, both past and present, civic leaders, government officials, family, and friends, many who have traveled great distances to be here today. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce the Commander, Air Force Materiel Command, and today's presiding official, General Arnold W. Bunch, Jr.
So good morning, everybody, and let me start with a couple of thank yous. Miss Tom, as an individual who has no musical skills whatsoever and whose children actually ask him not to sing even in church, thank you very much. Very well done. And Chaplain, thank you very much for the invocation. And I just learned that he is a fellow Tennessean and has the twang that I am so accustomed to hearing, so that was music to my ears. Thank you very much for that. It is great to see everybody here, and I'm really happy to see all the members of the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center team and friends from around that these individuals have interacted with for their careers. Okay, I'm told that you cannot hear me, which my wife would say is a good thing if you couldn't hear me. Okay, so we got to thanks to Ms. Tom, we got to thanks to the chaplain, I thanked for those that couldn't hear me, and we got to thanks for all the people that are AFIMSC and the friends and all that. The real big thank you goes, though, to the family, and why I'm really glad you're here. If you're going to serve at a senior leader level, as these gentlemen are doing in command positions, it's a team sport. And it takes that family working together to be able to make that happen. And we got two great families here today that have allowed these individuals to serve in leadership roles for many years. So for the family, thank you very much for everything you've done to allow this. For the kids, thank you for the sacrifices that you have made to allow your dad to serve. And for the aunts and brothers and all that, the family reunions that we miss and everything else, thank you very much. For the two colonels and their lovely brides, thank you for setting good ethics and values in these men that have allowed them to serve in our Air Force. And for the brides, thank you for refining them a little bit along the way so that they're better prepared to serve in these roles. Today is an important day for the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center as we bid a fond farewell to a great leader, a commander, a warrior, a servant leader, an airman, and a family. And we welcome into the command job a new great leader and a servant leader, also the Air Force's newest two-star general, by the way, as of about 30 minutes ago. So, and a great command family. So today is a very important day. Today our Air Force finds itself in a unique position. We are still today the most dominant Air Force the world has ever seen. And we have been for many years. But our adversaries are starting to catch up with us in a lot of ways. And if you read the National Defense Strategy, it will tell you that we're in a great power competition. And it will tell you that we need to get capability into the field in a more timely manner, and that we need to prepare for a next generation adversary that is more near peer or peer than what we've done before. You will also see that we are not as large as we need to be as an Air Force for what we need to do to execute the nation's mission. We need to grow operational squadrons and support squadrons to be able to support those growth in operational squadrons. You can't have one without the other. And we have got to grow. So we find ourselves as an Air Force in a unique position. If we're going to make that happen, if we're going to make that work, Air Force Materiel Command has got to be successful. The only way the Air Force can achieve the strategic goals and objectives set out in the National Defense Strategy is if Air Force Materiel Command succeeds. We can't grow the Air Force we need and the support organizations that we need if Air Force Materiel Command is not successful. That is why you hear me talk about Air Force Materiel Command being the most important MAJCOM in the Air Force for us to grow and develop into the force that we need. We do our wartime mission each and every day in AFIMSC. Whether that's buying things, doing technology, testing things, sustaining platforms, all of the activities we have. Foundational to that is the key role that the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center plays. It's foundational to what we're doing as a command. It's foundational to what we do across our Air Force to be successful. Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center touches everything around the globe that we have for our airmen. If you are not successful and you do not execute your mission on a day-to-day basis like it's a wartime mission, we cannot succeed. And that's the challenge that we put upon the leaders that we have in these key positions. It is foundational. And there's no other organization that has as much to do with protecting and building up our power projection platforms, which are our bases, whether they're there now or we're making them ready for where we deploy. And there's no other organization outside the wings and the squadrons who touch the lives of our airmen and their families as much and make such a critical place, such a critical role in what we do to make them feel valued and what we need to provide them safe and rewarding living conditions and services and everything else that you do each and every day. So for the men and women that are out there, I want to tell you as the commander, thank you for what you do each and every day to make us successful. Thank you for what you have done over this time frame for Brad and what you're going to do for Tom. And I look forward to, as the new commander, having not done the immersion, I want you to hear this, so it's a little off what you get normally. I look forward to working for you in my new role as the AFIMSC commander, because I actually have 80,000 people in Air Force Materiel Command that I work for, and you're a key part of that, and I look forward to serving you as the commander of the organization. Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center was formed out of the other MAGCOMs and went to the point that we were centralizing some things that made some people very uncomfortable as we started this. Many of you have been here from when we started it. Okay, and it started under T.C. Carter, and we got it off and running, and then we brought in Brad. And Brad and Lisa have taken it to a whole new level, and they have driven a whole lot of change. This team has embraced the vital role that you play across the Air Force for making sure we're taking care of our airmen. After listening to the festivities last night, I learned a lot, by the way. Some of it I'm not sure Brad wanted me to learn, but it was very enjoyable and entertaining. But you're very passionate about your mission. That rings true for what you do. And you are executing it with what I call the proper sense of urgency to demonstrate that we do our wartime mission each and every day. And that's something that I will expect everybody to keep going. Under Brad's leadership, you've achieved full operational capability for this center, which is something that as we started it, I was in the 5-sided building when we were drawn to the final stages of how this was going to work. And I was listening to the challenges that people were throwing at you for how this was going to do, and you all have knocked it out of the park with the great efforts that you've done thus far, and I know Brad has taken it farther. It's still a young concept and an idea, but you're rapidly growing and maturing. You're continuing to evolve it to do even better. I can't touch on everything that you all have done under Brad's leadership because there are just too many things, and I would stay here all day. So I have selectively picked a few. So if I offend anyone in the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center because I did not call on your pet rock, I apologize. I love you, okay? There are times I love all 80,000 people in Air Force Materiel Command. There are times I don't like everybody quite so much, but I love everybody. So you have driven category management to new heights and awarded contracts saving huge amounts of time and dollars that we can reinvest back into critical needs of our Air Force. The efforts that you have done in this area have been held up as the example to not only the other services but the other agencies for how we should be doing business. And there are a lot of people that would love to be where this organization is at for how you do category management and the great work you're doing. You've won big friends behind the glass doors with the Chief and the Secretary for the work that you've done. And when you have those kind of senior leaders that can talk about what you're doing in your center, it is amazingly successful with how you want to go argue for money and do things. You've made the Year of Defender memorable as you have renewed focus on equipping and modernizing our security forces. our defenders, creating new training and tactics in the face of an ever-evolving threat, both abroad and more so than ever before here at home. And you've evolved that, taken it to new levels, and we will continue to do that. You've kept a focus on providing services to our airmen around the world, so they and their families feel valued and appreciated. We recruit an airman. We retain a family. And we have to keep that focus so that we're addressing our family's needs. And I know you've worked very, very hard to do that, and we will continue to keep our focus in those areas as we go forward. You have surged to support our bases during critical times of need. You look at what happened at Tyndall, and you look at what happened at Offutt, and the way that this team has responded to make things happen. Under Brad's leadership and the leadership team, you all have done remarkable things that are on the radar screen of our chief and our secretary, and even General Wilson, our vice chief, is inviting him to some of your meetings now. Hopefully that's filtered down that you're going to have a more senior person in the room, but you've done a great job reaching out and taking care of those critical missions and trying to get those things rectified and move forward. You've embraced data analytics with your comprehensive installation health assessment so that we can quickly surmise where we are and make informed decisions, not just off our gut feel or what we think, but after analysis and looking at data so that they're data informed and we can make wise investments to make improvements in our facilities and our locations. You've highlighted the critical infrastructure needs that we have and the backlog in work that we've not been doing to take care of those power projection places, our bases, which are critical to our mission. You've even created an investment strategy and an overall plan that was worked its way through the air staff all the way to get signed by the chief and secretary to get after this. That's critical for getting a realization at the senior levels of our Air Force of what investments we need to do, and you all have been key and you've made that work. That is not easy. You have built the plan to go to AFIMSC 2.0. through hours of hard work and discussion and rapid improvement events and courses of action and cuss and discuss sessions and being mad at each other probably at times when you walked out of the room because you didn't feel everyone was listening. Folks, that's hard work. That's kind of what we do as a command, and that's what you do as a center to make those things happen. And you've come up with something that's codified that structure so that we can move forward and make AFIMSC even better than it is today. And we can solidify it for the future to make sure we're providing that support the MAJCOMs are expecting. You've driven new dialogues and actions across the Air Force through the Installation Weapons and Tactics Conference that you've had. For those that aren't familiar every day, and this is more for the families because I know most of us know what web techs are. Those are born out of the combat air forces where they would get together and they would talk about tactics and what they would do to try to take down targets and what it would take. And AFIMSC took that to a level where we started talking about bases and how am I going to fight from the base and how am I going to project power and how are we going to go forward when we need to send a message and what are we going to do to make that happen. Out of that have come roadmaps, recommendations, actions, investments, and things to prepare us for the threat that we face tomorrow and how we're going to project power far into the future. Most of you in here, when you think about a deployment today, you think about going to IUD or a base that we've been at for multiple years. That's not the future, folks. When we start talking about deploying and things, we're talking about rolling in with men equipment and going into new places, and you all are driving that dialogue. I witnessed it at Corona. I witnessed it with the 4-stars sitting around going, we need to think our way through this. How are we going to employ power? What are we going to do for the future? You've driven that under Brad's leadership. You've fanned the flames of innovation. And Brad, you've instilled in your team and your airmen the freedom to bring ideas forward and try. And I embrace that. Not everything succeeds, but we need to be willing to try new things because we face challenges. We got to find new ways to do our business. Brad, you've done this with Lisa with a servant leader's heart and a servant leader's mindset. Lisa, thank you for your 32 years of dedicated service. Lisa and Brad got married 2 days after he was commissioned. She's been there for the whole journey. And I say what I did last night. Some of you will be tired of this. Apologies, but it's really important. The military spouses are the best value that the American taxpayer gets. We don't pay them a penny. But they go and do things to allow us to wear the uniform and serve in critical places and do what we love. We roll in and take on jobs as commanders or learn how to fly new airplanes or get to go do really great things that we love, and we fall in with friends that we've served with for years. They try to get the house set up so they can have 65 or 70 people over tonight for a reception with only about 5 to 10 days to get your house set up. They find schools. They find the medical facilities for the kids, who, particularly if they have extra special needs because of medical conditions. They find the local soccer team. So the military spouses, and Lisa, you've been a great example. Thank you for your dedicated service. You're going to be missed. Brad, thank you for your tireless efforts as the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center Commander. You've driven this team to new heights. You've raced all the way to the end. At Corona, one of the most passionate pitches that was given was by Brad as he showed all of the commanders that were there, Alpha Warrior, and what it was doing out in the field. And that passion exuded through all the way up until the very end. And you've done it with rigor, and you've done it with passion, and it's made a tremendous difference. I won't be able to be there today when your father retires you. What I want to say on behalf of the Air Force Materiel Command leadership and all the center commanders, thank you for your dedicated service. Thank you for your 32 years of faithful service in doing the mission. You have made great contributions to this nation's defense through being a defender and projects that you've worked on and your role in Capitol Hill and various commander tours. But the greatest contribution that you have made, Brad, and the one that will leave an indelible mark on any of us that ever come in contact with you, are what we've learned through your mentorship, your friendship, and your leadership. That will live on for many generations beyond any of the ideas you brought into to the Defender world or into the Installation and Mission Support Center. That'll pay forward for many years as we talk about Spacey-isms and the 6-4 principle that everyone was quoting last night. You've done a tremendous job, and we as a nation are greatly indebted to you for that. Thank you very much. So today is one of those days that's kind of interesting for an organization. You've become familiar with the leader that you have. And now we're bringing a new individual in, and some of you are probably a little antsy because you may not know Tom Wilcox. Don't use the John. That's not what he goes by. Tom. That's what he goes by. He's just got 2 of those first names there, right? So he goes by the Tom. Let me tell you something. You need to relax, okay? You need to relax. You're getting an absolutely rock star leader coming in behind Brad and Lisa, and you got an outstanding team with Marion and Tom. Now, I'm going to say this before Tom gets up here and talks. I have had some people tell me that he has a little bit of a twang in his voice. I don't know what anybody's talking about with that. I have no problem whatsoever communicating with Tom Wilcox. Now, he and I both believe some other folks in this room have some accents, but he and I think we talk just fine the way it is. So for those who are out there, a little bit of detail. I know you got the bio, and I'm not going to read through all the jobs. Tom's the son of a Army colonel, retired, 30 years of service. So service is something that he grew up with and was instilled in him at an early age. He wanted to be in the Air Force forever. He said he couldn't remember when he didn't want to be in the Air Force. He was going to be an F-15 pilot. He had F-15 pictures all up over the walls, and that was what he was going to do when he went to ROTC at Louisiana Tech. And then when he got his physical, he had allergies or hay fever, and it's questionable whether he really did or he didn't. But he ended up, after having gone through ROTC camp, he couldn't go fly, so he wanted to go be a defender. And that's how he started his career. He never let it slow him down. He always had a passion to serve. He was recognized early for his leadership, for his hard work, and for being ahead of his peers. In his second performance report, the officer who wrote the report, the squadron commander, said, "We need to watch him. He's going to be a squadron commander." I didn't have anybody say anything that nice about me when I was a lieutenant in the Air Force. And he did a fantastic job through his career up through those stages. And he served, if you look at it, he served on the air staff, he served on the Global Strike Command staff, he served in the Office of Secretary of Defense. He's filled various and sundry roles in those things that have very much prepared him for the the position we're getting ready to put him in. But I'll call attention to a couple that to me kind of stand out. As a young major, he was selected to go be the commander for the largest security forces squadron in the Air Force at Barksdale Air Force Base. A position that had historically been reserved for lieutenant colonels who were on the up and up path in the security forces world. He didn't only take that job, he knocked it out of the park. In a bomb wing, he was rated as the number 2 of 102 majors, which means with all the flyers and everybody else, he, as a security forces defender squadron commander, distinguished himself that much from everyone else that the 2-star general gave him, or the wing commander gave him his number 2 ranking out of 102 people in the organization. His great work as a security forces commander drove him to be promoted 2 years below the zone. I think that kind of speaks for what he did as a major and set him on a different path for everybody else. He served as a group commander for a security forces group, and he knocked that out of the park as well. And the thing that he did in both of those jobs and his subsequent jobs, he garnered multiple awards for the men and women that worked for him. That takes time. That takes energy, and that takes focus to recognize your people. And that's the kind of commitment you're getting out of the leader that you're getting ready to get. The last 2 that I'll give you the best examples of what kind of a leader the Air Force believes Tom Wilcox is. He's on the Global Strike Command staff, and a security forces group fails a nuclear surety inspection. For those who are not defenders, or those who did not grow up in Strategic Air Command before the hostile takeover and the merger with Air Combat Command, not that I still today have any hard feelings about how that worked out, that's as bad as it gets. That's when commanders get removed. That's when leadership teams leave. That's when morale goes down. He's on the Global Strike Command staff. They walk down the hall and say, "You are going to take over this job as the interim commander, clean it up." 75 days later, on a re-inspection, they went through and were completely clean on their re-eval. That's the kind of leader that can go in and change things and make a difference that you're getting. More than that, he went back and served under Mr. Kingsley, and some of you may recall a few years back where we had a wing that had a cheating scandal, a missile wing, and there were drug allegations, and there were people that were getting asked to go find other places to serve or being asked to leave the Air Force. And Jack Weinstein, some of us are good buds with Jack Weinstein. He is a straight shooter, hard-charging kind of guy. And through the leadership of Global Strike Command, Jack and the team selected Marion and Tom with almost no notice to go be the missile wing commander and clean everything up. It is the only time, it was the first time that a defender was asked to go be the wing commander of a missile wing. The first time that had ever occurred that we put someone into that kind of a leadership role. And they took the morale, which was below in the toilet, and the non-compliance and the cultural issues that were there, and in their 2-year tenure, they turned it completely around and restored the nuclear deterrent that we had there and the critical role that that plays. You are getting the right leader to follow, Brad, the leadership team to follow Brad and Lisa. That is the highest compliment when you have someone that you're willing to go in and put into a problem and say, go fix it, we trust you. That's the highest compliment we can give to someone's leadership ability, and that's who's getting ready to be your commander. And that's who I'm looking forward to getting an opportunity to work for. So you're getting a great leader, you're getting a servant leader, you're getting a team builder, and you're getting a man who, quite frankly, is unapologetically himself. There's no air of anything other than being a good man and a good leader. And that's what you're getting as the boss coming in. So, to you all, please support Tom and Marion. He will take this organization to even new heights. He will drive it even more into the future from what Brad has done a great job. He's carried it forward. He will take you all to even greater places, and we'll even better be able to support our airmen around the world and do the critical mission that we have. Tom and Marion, you all are exactly the right people. You're the right folks to have here at this time. You're the right folks to make this. You are inheriting a strong team. They're going to pour in behind you, and you all are going to be great. I look forward to working for and with you, and you're going to make a huge difference, and we're going to do great things as within AFMC and within AFIMSC. So for everybody here, thank you for being here. God bless the families. God bless the men and women of AFIMSC and Air Force Materiel Command, and God bless the United States. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, General Welch. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the Distinguished Service Medal.
Publicity orders.
This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, July 9, 1918, awards the Distinguished Service Medal to Major General Bradley D. Spacey for exceptional meritorious service in duties of great responsibility. General Spacey distinguished himself in high-level command staff assignments, culminating as Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Joint Base San Antonio, Texas, from 31 July 2016 to 30 September 2019. During this period, General Spacey led the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center to full operating capability, effectively accomplishing the largest Air Force reorganization since 1992. His leadership was instrumental in developing the first ever installation health assessment, a data analytics and predictive analysis capability for capturing the true status and risk to Air Force installations and a $30 billion sustainment backlog. This effort provided the basis for the Secretary of the Air Force's first ever installation investment strategy that committed the Air Force to deliberate long-term infrastructure investment. Additionally, General Spacey led his team in obligating a $10 billion budget during an extremely difficult fiscal period more efficiently and effectively than ever before. Finally, General Spacey established the center as a nexus for innovation with the creation of the Installation Weapons and Tactics Conference, which focused warfighters on tackling the Air Force's toughest challenges, culminating in recommendations briefed to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force and over 1,000 personnel. This forum has already changed how the Air Force manages installations, created multifunctional training for airmen, and developed a new combat capability in the Combat Support Wing. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of General Spacey reflect the highest credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
Thank you, General Bunch. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Major General Bradley D. Spacey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. General Bunch, thank you. You know, I thanked him a number of times, last night and every time I get a chance. I've known General Bunch a while, and I'll be wish I could serve with him longer. I think he brings the energy, the excitement, and the vision that this command is eager for. And every word he said about AFMC's role in the Air Force is absolutely true. I keep trying to pitch this tagline that combat power starts here for AFMC because they touch every aspect of it. So, sir, I'm excited to watch you. I wish I were going to be here longer with you. That's just the way it goes, so thank you. And thanks to Leslie, once again. She sang for us last night, if you were here. You know, one of my friends, part of the people you meet in the Air Force throughout a career, country singer with her band came last night. I challenge you to Google up her songs. I think you'll like them if you don't already know them. They speak to what we do, to the story of people dedicated to service. And it's always wonderful to hear you sing, and thanks for coming again. She does this on her own, just part of her commitment to helping out you all. So thanks, Leslie. And I gotta say thank you to my family. You know, I always forget this because we sort of assume it. General Bunch is absolutely right. The Air Force pays nothing for the family that comes with us. And my daughters, unfortunately, both have to work. It is the life of, like children as they grow up. Colton, my youngest daughter's husband, is here. My oldest daughter and her husband couldn't be here this morning. But they know what it's like to grow up living this life. And this last 3 years have been the appropriate exclamation point on the end, as we've all focused on this mission. And sometimes when I'm laying awake at night trying to figure out the next level, she patiently props me back up and pushes me out the door and says, "You can do it." Stop crying, you can do it. That's important. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to do in the Air Force is give up command. You know, I was taught young that officer's command is what you should aspire to. And if you can't command, then well, you probably should do something else. The hardest thing about being commander, though, is giving up that guideline. And the work that you've poured your soul into for the last years is going to be turned over to somebody else who can't do it as well as you. There's just no way. You spend your life doing it, you know. And so you look at the person coming in, you're tearing them down, and how they bring to this person. They'll never be able to do it. You know, they're not good looking enough, they're not tall enough, they got a funny voice. I mean, generically speaking. But when they told me it was going to be Tom Wilcox, I was thrilled. I was excited for many reasons. And people automatically think I was excited because he's a defender, and it means that a defender would be taking the helm of this incredible organization. That wasn't it. I mean, I'm excited about that. It's always good to see your functional community grow a great leader. But if you knew Tom Wilcox, you would know he's the right guy with the right type of vision and discipline and attention to detail to take an organization to new places it's never been before. You know, I like to think I'm an innovative guy, but now at this point, I'm just innovative in my own set of stovepipes. I've just created this little paradigm, and I'm innovating like crazy inside of it. Well, he's going to bring a whole new look to the world. And fortunately, he's way smarter than he sounds because it's true. And I've been warning people already. See, you grew up in that nuclear security environment. I grew up in the environment where suppose was good enough. He grew up in the environment where 99.9% success rate was 0.1% failure rate. So I'm telling you, be careful. That's what we need. That's a new look at this organization that's going to enable it to get over the top and then on that great stuff that we know is out there. I can't help but look over the last 3 years and think about it because it's been such an emotional journey for Lisa and I know many of you. When I stood up here 3 years ago, I thought it was going to be 2 years. And I said, you know, I've shared a story about how I grew up in the Air Force, and I worked so much in the field with my functionals from other communities, but I thought that's how the Air Force worked. Everybody worked together, and they kind of cross-integrated all their capabilities and produced one composite capability. And I learned over my career that was not true. We sort of grew up in stovepipes and delivered those capabilities one at a time. And that was frustrating to me when I was younger. That's the opportunity here in this organization is to look at those things differently. And in my first commander's call, I gave a normal thing, 6 things, 4 things, which after 3 years they don't seem to remember still. It was frustrating moments. every other commander call, 6 things, 4 things. But something else I talked about was something I called the what if brief. And we had a bunch of slides we put up there. And they said, what if we could look at installations differently and talk about some of the potential? They said, what if we could look at readiness differently and talk about some of the potential? What if we could look at airmen differently and talk about some of their potential? What if we look at force deployment differently, the unit type codes, the packages that we send downrange differently? What might that look like over time? Didn't really know what all that meant. I knew that looking at this command, the opportunity was there. Fast forward to now, and you look in the past, the things General Bunch talked about, and all those have been done differently. They've all been done differently, and they're doing things for the Air Force for the first time that we've struggled with for years and years and years. And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But we're on the way to there. And being on the way to there is so important because it shows people the potential and it gets them excited about the opportunity. But most importantly, it gives the Air Force the capability it's going to need as we remain the most powerful arm, the most powerful military the world has ever known. That's exciting to me. It is hard to give up. It is hard to give up. I won't lie to you. But it does feel good knowing that you all are here and that Tom Wilcox is taking over that command. I can't help but be excited about it. I will watch, from the cheap seats now as you continue this journey. And I will be excited to watch it. I will leave you with one thought. And I've worked hard to capture, at least always challenges me to be shorter, talk less, and get off the stage. So I tried to shrink it down to the smallest advice I can give. And it's a quote that my young executive officer came up with this last spring. Major Jessica Greathouse, now a squadron commander of Shepherd Air Force Base. She's here today. She was trying to help out as we were developing a presentation. I was going to give a big speech to a big giant audience. And Major J.D. Buchholz put together this wonderful slide that would be behind us and gave this great brief. These 20-foot screens. It was really impressive. They weren't really slides. They were visions of the world. Wow. I hope I can carry the mail for those, because that's really impressive. But if not, they go with those cool slides. Lord, just freaking there, right? Give them something to look at beside you. But we need a quote to finish. We started with a half-hour quote, really set up the whole theme. Beautiful presentations, words were adequate. We need a finisher. And we're struggling there, looking for the right words to come up with. And nothing was quite doing it. And Jessica comes walking and she goes, I think I might have it. But she's worried, because I'm pretty hard on her sometimes. That's a stupid idea, go back to work. I mean, I'm encouraging in that way, I think. At least it encourages me. You're an idiot, do better. And I said, what is it? She says, from Walt Disney. Okay, the ultimate visionary. And it says, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I think that's it. If you can dream it, you can do it. You have the pieces, you have the expertise, you've got the leader. Go dream something big. It's exciting. So thank you for everything. Thank you for this. Thank you for being great warfighters and leaders. I'm excited for you, and we're excited about the future. God bless.
Thank you, General Spacey. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with the change of command.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Under the provision of Air Force Instruction 51-604 and Special Order Number G19-173, Major General Bradley D. Spacey relinquishes command of the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center to Major General John T. Wilcox II, effective 25 July 2019. gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my honor to welcome the Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Major General John T. Wilcox II.
Thank you. Who speaks funny? I don't know, sir. I'm with you. I see you, baby girl. Wherever you are, I heard you. I heard you. What a great day. Good morning, everyone. A lot of times I love to walk around. You know, when you get ADD or ADHD, you can't stay in one spot. You got to bounce around. But I wrote this speech today so I wouldn't forget anybody and so I wouldn't forget anything. So this will probably be the last speech ever I write, and just walk on the stage. But what an exciting day. Thanks, everybody, for attending. For all of my out-of-town friends, we worked hard to have this cool front going on here in San Antonio. What do you think about our 92-degree cool front, right? Hell yeah? 92 degrees. Still a little cooler and less humid than it was in Louisiana about 2 weeks ago when you walked outside and you were just drenched. So I'm totally digging the San Antonio weather, right? I heard it right there. General Bunch, Team Joint Base San Antonio, local civic leaders, Major General Spacey, and my fellow general officers and senior executive service professionals, colonels, chiefs, family, members, and friends, but most importantly, the war fighters of the Installation and Mission Support Center. It is truly my honor and privilege to be standing here in front of you today as the next AFIMSC commander. Marion and I are both humbled and excited to be on your team as we carry out and continue to revolutionize installation and mission support. My goal today in my short time is to say thanks to the myriad of groups and individuals that support our great nation and our airmen every single day. Speaking of thanks, let me start out with huge props to those that made today happen. This is a busy week for AFIMSC with the change of command, General Bunch's visit, General Spacey's retirement, and then trying to onboard a new commander. But from everything I've seen, you guys have done a phenomenal job. Major Morales and Sergeant Mungo, thanks for narrating today's events. And how about that national anthem again? If you get nothing else out of today, you get a hell of a national anthem and a prayer by Chaplain Wilson that makes you want to pass the collection plate. I mean, absolutely outstanding. And overall, the POCs for today, they're running around, Majors Olivia Brown and Chris Underwood, and then Master Sergeant Hunter Harper. You guys have done a fantastic job and set the bar high. I mean, General Bunch wants to change the way he does immersions after last night, so every time he comes to town, we won't brief him, we'll just have a party. It'll be good to go. What do you think, sir? Maybe we'll watch LSU beat Tennessee. I don't know. I love the SEC. Hey, General Bunch, sir, thank you for your confidence and allowing us to continue serving our Airmen, Air Force, and Nation for a few more years. After working with you for 2 years in the acquisition business, I was truly excited when I found out we were both headed to AFIMSC. Nobody has a greater passion for our Air Force, airmen, and families than you and Miss Caroline. And I'm excited to be on your team as we build the AFIMSC we need and ensure our Air Force meets the National Defense Strategy's objectives. Sir, I'm all in, and we'll give you 100%, 110% to our airmen and the warfighters of AFIMSC will give my very best. To our new San Antonio community, Joint Base San Antonio partners, local civic leaders, we are thrilled to be a member of this great joint partnership, city and state. Somehow in our 27-year Air Force career, we've never had the honor of living in San Antonio. I did live here twice in the 70s when my daddy was stationed at Fort Sam, but my, how it's changed. I think Austin was like 35,000 people or something back then. I've been to TDY to San Antonio multiple times over the years, but we've never sealed the deal on a permanent change of station until now. Thank you for your long-standing patriotic streak and the outstanding support you've provided the military community over the years. We are thrilled to be here and look forward to getting involved and making new friends. Major General Spacey, thank you for the warm reception to San Antonio and for all the blood, sweat, and tears you poured into IMSC over the last 4 years. You've been involved with IMSC from the beginning and have matured it from a provisional unit in its infancy stages to an integrated organization providing revolutionary installation and mission support. It's never easy to stand up and grow an organization in a zero-sum game environment across 2 different national defense strategies. But you did, and the team succeeded, and our Air Force continues to see more and more benefits every year. Your Distinguished Service Medal citation outlines some of those team accomplishments, but even as you were preparing to retire, you were running hard to make IMSC 2.0 for the future a reality and make sure that it was taken hold. Please know, as you and Lisa head off to Florida, Marion and I will continue working hard to ensure warfighters support warfighters. I may not be as tall or as good looking, but I speak right. And from the heart. So when we're watching you at 9 o'clock on HGTV with Vanilla Ice, we can all say, I knew that guy. And get free tickets when we come to Florida. Thank you, sir, for what you did. To all my past and current mentors, friends, officers, senior NCOs, and NCOs that went that extra mile to keep me on track and pointed into the wind, thank you. There's no way I'd be here, standing here today, without all of your patience, guidance, and mentorship. Some of the best are not here today that affected me. General Robin and Miss Kim Rang, Lieutenant Jack and Patricia Weinstein, Major General Mary Kay Hertog, and Chief Hearn. Master Sergeant Chuck Weber was my very first flight chief and taught me the value of a senior NCO and an NCO. And in our business, in the installation and mission support business, that's who gets it done. So thank you, Chuck Weber, for taking a chance and everybody else and supporting a young defender in different out-of-the-box roles. But some of them are here today, thanks to my Bayou Warrior family from the 2nd Security Forces Squadron, now Brigadier General John Kinsey, and Jennifer, his wife, couldn't make it, and Colonel Tim and Gina Farrell. Gina couldn't make it either, but I was with them when they met each other, and they've been married for 21 years. And our chief couldn't make it either. Chief Dan and Ophelia Arvin came all the way in from Japan. He was my group superintendent at Francis E. Warren Air Force Base from 2011 to 13. And the absolute outstanding advice and sage discussions that we had made me a much better person, father, husband, and commander. And Chief Ludd, I look forward to having that same relationship with you and Crystal. We can't do it by ourselves. I got a good buddy, I don't know, I haven't seen him, retired United States Marine Corps, Major Kevin Briggs. He was coming in. Raise your hand, Kevin, if you're here. I don't know if he made it or not. Probably got stuck at the gate. Oh, there he is. He was my neighbor, and his entire family will teach you all about being a patriot and what they do. And he came in from Japan also. His wife is a GS civilian doing great things for our services and morale over in Japan. So Kevin, thanks for coming, man. Learned a lot from him. I know there are many others out there, and I'm sure I'll forget some, and I have, but you all influenced me at various stages in my career, and I owe you a debt of gratitude. A special thanks goes out to my family. Daddy, Diane, thanks for coming in from South Carolina. My father did 30 years in the Army and was the reason I wanted to join the military. Blue versus green, right? You can't, you know you want to join the military, you like the way of life, you want to do it, but you got to have your own thing, So I wanted to go for Air Force from the beginning. And it was more important to me to be in the military and serve than a specific career. So as General Bunch said, when I got news that I was medically not qualified, man, I spent some great times with the Defenders at the advanced training program, and I knew that's right what I wanted to do. And I came in as one of 30 security police officers that year, and haven't looked back and have absolutely loved it from the beginning. So thanks, Daddy, for everything. My mother who passed away this year, and Diane, parents set you up for success. That's their job. That's our job as parents, to set you up for success. And they did that by instilling the right values, the right norms, the right work ethic, manners. Basic things is manners. They did that. And without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. You taught us right from wrong, and I thank you both for that. My brother Bob and his wife Sophia are here. We are lucky. We have never lived close to them in our 27-year career. He's been here either in Virginia and Austin, and now we're here. And the girls and the cousins are out going to Six Flags yesterday, and we're looking forward to it. Bob, I'm so glad you could make it. You could take the time out of your and so's busy schedule, and Ivy and Lexi, and be here with us today. It means a lot to me, and I am so looking forward to the next couple of years with you. To my two adopted brothers, I don't even know if they're here. Joey and Jamie, are you here? Did you make it? These guys adopted me, man, kind of adopted me as a foster kid. Not really a foster kid, but, as another family, adopted me back when I was in high school and college. I stayed with them, during college for the summer, worked for their father, learned a lot from them. And I hadn't been the greatest, stepbrother, I guess, over the last couple of years. In the military, you're so used to moving, you bounce around, they're just there, you pick up the phone. It's not that way in the civilian world, so I dropped the ball on that. But I'm glad they can make it here. They taught me some of the greatest lessons in life with their family as well. And when you're working with this, you need all the help you can get, brother. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. I'll work better on communications over these next 2 years. Unfortunately, all our kids couldn't be here. Marion and I's kids couldn't be here today. We got 4. The 2 boys couldn't make it. Eric and Braden. Eric's in Montana and Braden's in Florida, respectively. And they'll come visit later this year. Actually, Eric comes in tomorrow. We just couldn't line up his work schedule with our move schedule and all that. So, we're lucky to have him coming, and we look forward to that. But to Eric, Braden, Madeline, and Kenley, thank you so much for all your support and the importance you place on keeping the family together. I don't want to, and I couldn't do this without you in my corner. The boys supported us through similar multiple assignments and moves, and it's always tough on the military kids. They have to move around, start new schools, leave old friends, make new friends, and basically turn their lives upside down every 2 or 3 years. Every 2 or 3 years if they're lucky. Every 2 or 3 years. My daughter, Madeline, for instance, will be a sophomore this year. And she has moved 9 times and been in 10 different schools. That's a military child's life. And they take it and own it. And while they may not always like it, they are proud of it. And they're proud to serve. Thanks, Matt. When Kenley, our youngest, and other military kids are outside playing at 1700 and the national anthem plays, and you watch a 5-year-old, 7, 9, 10, 13 line up and put their hands over their hearts, they are serving too. They're all in, and I'm proud of all. To my life partner, Marion, thanks, babe, for being you. You've given 110% to serving our airmen, Air Force, and great nation. And like the kids, haven't asked for anything in return yet. But I know it's coming, brother. I know it's coming, man. You have always been all in and ready to help and do what's needed to support the team. Even when it involves hosting 70 folks at your house tonight, less than 10 days after we got here. You keep the home team functioning and on track through all the deployments and TDYs. And while I do not say thank you near enough, and I am not the super husband that I should be, I could be a better father. I know I definitely married up, and I am the lucky one. Thanks for all you do for our Air Force, our family, and me. I love you, and I know I will owe you big when we retire. So someday. Just one more assignment, baby. And last, but definitely not least, to all the warfighters of AFIMSC. Like I said earlier, Marion and I are honored and humbled to be on your team and look forward to meeting you and getting to know each one of you. You all have a separate individual story. You are all contributors. You are all important to the organization. You all have a roadmap on where we should go, and you all have a great idea. You are the experts at integrating installation and mission support across the Air Force, and your knowledge is unmatched in the combat support and combat service support arenas. I am excited about identifying additional synergies across the enterprise as we work to provide robust, affordable, and innovative options to our Air Force. Lethality and readiness must be at the core of our efforts as we work to attain national defense strategy objectives in a near-peer environment. A conflict in the future, like General Bunch said, with a near-peer competitor will look radically different than the violent extremist organization operations of the last 30 years. And as Chief Goldfein says, we have from now until go to get ready. It's our job to make sure our support forces are ready and our bases are operationally resilient and able to produce continuous air power. Finally, in partnership with the operational change of command, it's every one of our jobs to take care of our greatest resource, our airmen and their families. The installation and mission support center the face of AFIMSC may have changed over the years, and the face of mission support may have changed over the years, but we're still responsible for providing the platforms and quality of life that keep the greatest Air Force in the world flying. We are extremely excited to be here. I look forward to being your wingman. Fights on.
Thank you, Major General Wilcox. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center are proud to have served with Major General Spacey and would like to wish him and his family every success in their future endeavors. We would also like to welcome Major General Wilcox and his family and look forward to their leadership. Please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. Off we go. Into the wild blue yonder, climbing high.